Take us through like that first gold medal on that race when you got that first gold medal from the start to finish.
What do you think the number one thing is for us when we go to these big meets? To see our flag
Raised.
One of the most difficult part was when I went to Alabama and I was taking this class and they were showing like a lot of slavery stuff. I remember this one guy said to me, he asked me where was I from? So I said, I'm from the Bahamas. Why do you say you're from the Bahamas? I said, because I am. I said, you're an American, so you're from America. He looks at me stone-faced. He said, why don't you say that you're black? You're black. You're a nigger, aren't you?
Wow.
And I was just like, I did not even know how to respond to him because growing up, those type of things never came up.
Yeah.
Every day I walk these streets in the Bahamas. The people of the Bahamas show me so much love. I was offered so much to leave our country, even a rich man too and all. But I couldn't walk away.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fanatic Islanders, your home for sports and sports entertainment. And we have another Sandbar Sitdown for you today. We have an incredible guest with us today, a national treasure, not only one of the greatest athletes our country has ever seen, but one of the greatest athletes to have ever lived. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people of all ages, the original Golden Girl, Miss Pauline Davis.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. How are you today?
I am divine.
That's great. That's
A
great.
strong word. But yes, I'm happy to have you here. Read your book. A very strong book indeed. A book about your life.
Yes.
How do you feel on the creation of this book? How did it?
I feel really good about the book. It took me about 10 years to write the book because every time I tried to write the book, it was very emotional. When I had to relive a lot of the things that I went through, but I was determined to do it because I want to make a difference. I want to be able to say to young people, it's not how you start in life, but it's how you finish. And when somebody gives you a lemon, you make lemonade. And so I had to tell my story because there's so many young people now here in our country that are just, they don't have a good position about who they are and what they are. And they have to understand that God sent every single one of us on earth with gifts. We just have to figure what those gifts are. We have to use it to our advantage.
I agree. Now, looking at the title, kind of got me curious. I was like, running sideways. And it comes down to when you started running, you were literally running sideways.
Yes, correct. Yes, I was literally running sideways. And the reason for that is back in the day, I was living in Baintown and we had to go to the government tap to get water. So I would take the buckets, go to the tap to fill it up. And of course, as a child, I was what they would call very voluptuous, front and back. So the young men in the community used to wait for me to come to the tap to get this water. And I used to make sure I try to get away from them. So I devised a plan as how I'm going to do that. So my plan was I twist my body, right? So I could look at them and then I could look where I'm going because I cannot spill an ounce of this water because I got to get this water home without spilling it. And that's basically how I really started running.
Wow.
That's amazing. Just
a natural talent because you were able to run sideways and still generate a lot of speed.
Enough speed to get away from them.
Yeah, that's impressive. So take us on a day in the life in Baintown at that age.
It was a beautiful time during that time. The village raised you. When you were children, everyone that is in the village who are an adult, they raised you. And they discipline you, show you a lot of love, but they discipline you. And if someone in the village discipline you, you can't go home and tell it to your parents Because if you do that, you have to go get another tambourine switch, right?
Yeah.
And the tambourine
classic
switch,
story.
the tambourine switch has to be a certain size. You have to decide which one you're going to take. You can't take one too big. You can't take one too small.
Yeah.
That's literally the only time that I would walk. Every other time I run all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a Goldilocks and switch. But that's good, man. That's good. So tell us more about your family dynamic. I know you said it was a village, but how about your family specifically? Like, you're close.
Yeah, my mom and my dad, oh God, they were disciplinarians. But they showed us a lot of love, but they were disciplinarian, and we grew up on Christian values and principles. And so my father was a Baptist and my mother was a Seventh-day Adventist. So sometimes I would go to the Seventh Adventist Church, the Centerville Seventh Adventist Church, and sometimes I go to Pilgrim Baptist Church with my father. So we were kind of like betwixt and between the churches, but in the home, it was run like a Seventh Adventist home.
So pretty much he was in church all the time.
Pretty much. And I only had like 2 pair of shoes, right? So I had my church shoes and I had my school shoes. That was it. All the other time, you just run around barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So I want to get started with one of the first big names in your book, Frank Rutherford. He basically is the one who discovered you, in a way.
In a way. So around the same time that Frank discovered me, our coach, Mr. Neville Wisdom, saw me on this grainy video. And he didn't really know who I was, and I didn't really have anything on. Again, I was running barefoot.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything on that would distinguish me from anyone else, because I just wear like regular stuff. So when I end up finishing at D.W. Davis, I got sent to L.W. Young. And when they had the inter-school sports, and I ran, barefoot, of course.
Yeah.
In my full uniform. Frank at the time was an upperclassman. He was in grade 12. I remember one morning I came to school, and mind you, I used to have to run sometime to school too. That also helped me to become a better athlete, because I had to drop off my siblings to William Gordon and to St. George's. The 2 younger ones went to St. George's, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a little preschool.
Okay.
And then I had the boogie woogie up to Bernard Road
to
to get there. And sometimes I had to cut through the bushes, right? Because we didn't have all these roads we have now. And so as a kid, you just learn how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, I don't even imagine.
Yeah, so sometimes I just cut through the bushes. And I remember coming through the L.W. Young gate, and Frank approached me. Well, before Frank approached me, because he was a senior, he had to substitute teach one of our classes, right? So he come in, and I remember he just kept hovering around me. He kept asking me questions. Do I need some help? And I was like, no, I'm good. He went sat back at the desk. He got back up again, and he'd walk around, look at everybody. But he always make a point to stop at my desk. And I guess he's trying to size me up and everything like that. Let me show this. I believe this is the girl. This is the right girl, right?
Yeah.
And till I finally just looked at him and was like, listen, I don't need your help. Just leave me alone. I'm the smartest in this class. Just leave me alone. Right? So anyway, the next day was when Frank really approached me when I came through the gate. And he was like, my coach wants to know where you live. And I'm looking at him like, what? What are you talking about? First he was bottoming in my class, now he come talking foolishness, talking about his coach want to know where I live, right? So I ignored him, and I go about my business. So again the next morning I came to school. Again the next morning, who was waiting? Frank was right there at the gate waiting for me. Persistence, yeah. That's why he's our first Olympic medalist, right? Yeah. So he was like, listen, my coach really needs to know where you live. Can you please tell it to me? And by a whim, because I figured, because back then, Baintown is far from Fox Hill.
Yeah.
That's a big distance. So I'm like,
Wolf Road.
yes, listen, I'm figuring there's no way he's going to know where I live, right? So I was like, Fleming Street. And they just walk off.
Yeah.
Right? Figuring he don't know where the heck Fleming Street is, right?
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, that afternoon I got home. And I heard a knock on the door. Right? But before I heard that, you could hear the little, the wood floor, you could hear it creaking or whatever. Squeaking, I guess is the proper word for that. And so I said, knock on the door, the little raggedy screen door, right? Knock on it. And I go to the door and I'm looking. And this man is like, Pauline? Sir, get off this porch like right now. My daddy ain't here. You cannot be on this porch. Come off like right now. He's like, okay. And of course, he was very nicely dressed, just nice suit, hair nicely cut, nice shoes. He was looked very impressive, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know who this man is. So I go about my business. He left. Probably within maybe like another half an hour or so, I hear another squeaking coming up, right? And whatever. And it was him with my father, right? So I kind of just peeped around the corner and went back about my business. And I was in the little kitchenette area. And then my daddy calls me after he spoke to Coach Wisdom, and he was like, he calls me, baby. He said, baby, come here. And then he told me about Coach Wisdom, and that Coach Wisdom thought I was going to be this phenomenal athlete, and that he's a coach, and he wanted me to join his track club so he can coach me. He wants me to come to practice every day. And I was like, Daddy, I only run in school meets.
Yeah.
I don't practice, right? He was like, well, baby, Coach Wisdom has a track club, and he really think that you're going to be this amazing athlete, and he wants to be your coach, and I think you should try it. I think it'll be a good thing, What you get to lose? Do it for Daddy, okay? I'm a daddy's girl. You got to say that twice. So, of course, I did that. So the very next, so he told Coach Wisdom exactly where my room was, right? I would share with my sister, right?
Yeah.
So the very next morning, Coach Wisdom come knocking on the window, right? It's dark. I'm like, what is going on? Is this man crazy? What is he doing?
That's a lot.
Right? So I just refused to come out the bed.
Yeah.
Coach Wisdom came a couple more times. Every morning he come really at the same time. So my big sister, she kicked me out of the bed. Get out of this bed. Go with this man, because this man be getting on my nerve. Every morning this man come here waking me up. Get out of this bed.
Exactly.
Right? So anyway, finally, I got out of the bed. I threw something on, I think it was like a little cut-off jeans or something like that. Not no real workout clothes, because I didn't have real workout clothes. And so I leave with Coach Wisdom. Lo and behold, when I got to Coach Wisdom's car, my Golden Girl sister Eldice was in the car.
Yeah.
And of course she was sleeping, but she was like, hi, like that, right? And then I got in. And so Coach Wisdom took the road that he took was, where the police training college is?
Yeah.
That road there. And he dropped us off right at the police training college. And he was like, oh, y'all have to run to Goodman's Bay. And I'm like,
That's a distance.
That ain't that far.
Oh, it is. What you mean?
Bro,
You do it now. You do it now.
actually, we should do that.
I ain't doing it.
From police college, that's like 3-4 miles.
yeah. For a sprinter,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm a sprinter, and for somebody,
She just started.
and I'm just starting. This is my first time starting. I'm like, this man is crazy.
Exactly.
And then he's driving behind us.
How old were you at this age? I mean, at this time?
But 13 going on 14.
You could do
So
that
right around
13
there.
with?
That's abuse.
Probably like if you say like you jogging and like 4 hours.
Just don't forget she got to go to school at this point.
Yeah, that too.
I got to go to school after this. So anyway, so we had to run. Coach Wisdom used his car's light because there was no street light like that. Right now we have all these street lights now. That didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
He used to use his car light. And he'd follow behind us, and we had to run to Goodman's Bay. And we get to Goodman's Bay, we were so exhausted. Then we had to do all these bunch of drills and all these things. I'm like, this man is really crazy.
Yeah. So how you think he came up with this routine? Like, you feel like he was just a Zen master or something, like to be able to coach y'all the perfect way you know how to coach? Or?
Well, actually, Coach Wisdom went to university on a track scholarship.
Yeah.
So he must have learned from his track coach and decided that he was going to come back to the Bahamas, come back home, and that he was going to, I think he said Dr. Norman Gay asked him to take over his track club.
Okay.
Right? Because Coach Wisdom ran track for the Pioneers Track Club, which was like the elitist of the elitists, right?
Yeah.
And so he decided to take on coaching the young people from Baytown or from humble beginnings, and that's what he did.
Makes sense.
His brother, Jerry Wisdom, was an Olympian. So he was around track and field all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This like real movie vibes.
It is. That's why I was going to ask coming up. I was like, yeah, you need to talk to movie studios about this book. Just give it to them.
Yes, well, that's what my publicist, who you've met, Susanna, keep pushing that. My
Okay.
yeah. Yes, the my ghostwriter who helped me write the book, Mr. Todd, he's also pushing that. They think that, and the fact that I've won those 2 major awards, right? They think that we need to try to get it in the hands of one of these movie writers, but I want it to be placed in the right hand because I would want it to be filmed in the Bahamas. I would want for it to be done here in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
And showcase who we are as a people. And then if we could get 1 or 2 little younger Bahamian athletes to represent me as a young child coming through or whatever. I just want the production to be done here. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, because we are a tourism destination country, and every chance I get, I like to show off our beautiful country because it's the most beautiful in the world. You know that, right?
Yes, I agree.
And I told people, you can't tell me differently. I've been to 177. Exactly. The ones I haven't been to, it's impossible for them to be more beautiful, like Iraq or Kuwait. Impossible. We have the most beautiful country in the world. Yeah.
I agree.
So what was going through your mind as you got adjusted to it with Coach Wisdom's car behind you? You have to run the Goodman's Bay, and then not only run the Goodman's Bay, you have to do all kind of drills. What was going through your mind, like when you started, and then I guess as you got accustomed to it?
But first, when I started, I was not too happy about it. I didn't want to get up out of my bed so early in the morning when the sun having rise at pitch black darkness. But once I started the training, and once I started a little camaraderie with my teammates, things became a lot easier. And then I find myself, like, I always loved to run, but like I said, I just never had any formal training.
Organized, yeah.
Right? I used to run up and down in Baytown. I mean, in the summers, that was our oyster. We go all over the place in Baytown. We get mango, tamarind, you name it. That's what we kids did. We just have to get home before the sun set. But we were allowed to roam the whole entire day.
Yeah.
But back to the running part of it. So at first I wasn't too enthused about it, but once I got started, then I started to fall in love with running. But I shouldn't say I already love running, but it just was not organized.
You was in love with the routine now too.
Yes, yeah. That's it right there. I became more in love with the routine because even in Baytown, we used to do relay. We used to climb the coconut tree, and we put a little four persons together, and the goal was to go in the coconut tree quickly, pick the coconut, come back down. This person go up, pick the coconut, come back down. So we were doing all of these things. This is how we entertain ourselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess you're accustomed to the routine now, right? So doing all that in the morning, then having to go to school.
Yeah.
Were you asleep at school?
Never.
Never.
Never. Never. Now now that I was familiar with everything, remember, and I transferred to the government high school.
That's right.
In the government high school, you don't sleep in school. It was the top school in the Bahamas. It was the creme de la creme of high schools. And so that pride was there. Once you walked through those gates, you know where you were. And everyone fall in line because we were so proud to be students at the government high school. And so, nope, never fell asleep in class. That was a no-no.
Okay, and then were you also doing routines and drills and practices after school?
Yes, we had in the afternoons.
So take us through that.
In the afternoons, it wasn't so bad because I guess I was awake and I'm used to being up in the daytime like that. So that part of it was not so bad. I enjoyed that, I think, and that helped to balance everything out. So that when I was training early in the mornings, after a few months, I didn't have any issue with it. And actually, I'm a morning person now. By 3:30, 4 o'clock, I'm up and I'm up. I'm not groggy or anything. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, I'm ready to go.
Wow. So when was it that Coach Wisdom realized he was ready for track meets?
Well, first of all, I got a lot of personal time with Coach Wisdom because, of course, I was running sideways, right?
Yeah.
So my arms and my legs and everything weren't really coordinated. But Coach Wisdom saw something special in me, and he started telling people that I was going to become this phenomenal athlete. Well, there were other coaches that didn't see that. They used to laugh all the time. And I remember this one time, a prominent Bahamian coach said, he said it loud enough for me to hear, and you imagine I'm a child, and if I dare answer back or even bat an eye or anything like that, he could send me to get a tampon switch, and I could get a whooping. He could tell my parents, and I get another whooping, right? And the coach said that, she's not gonna become this phenomenal athlete. I don't really running on with what he's talking about. That's never gonna happen. And he said that all I was going to amount to was a mattress for men. How 6 or 7 kids with 6 or 7 different men. Wow. So you can't imagine as a child hearing a grown adult man say something like that. And I'm saying to myself, I know who you're talking about. He ain't talking about me.
Yeah.
Right? So I think at that moment, like a light bulb went off inside of my head. Right? So not only Coach Wisdom saw what he saw, but then this coach, who was a prominent coach at the time, didn't thought I was going to amount to nothing. So...
fuel to the fire.
There you go. Oh, yeah. I was determined to show him differently. And moving forward, I just kept pushing. I just kept working hard. I kept pushing. I kept working hard. And of course, I not only became the top junior sprinter in the Bahamas, I became the top junior sprinter in the world.
Yeah, we stopped.
Did he ever apologize?
Never. And I don't want him to.
You know that Bahamian pride is. You know how that goes.
No.
It's be wild.
Yes.
Because, they switch. They'd be like, I didn't say that. I only said that, pusher.
I think so.
They try to claim everything. So it's like,
yeah. And plus we were in rival track clubs. Okay, I was a Baintown fly from the ghetto, and they were the creme de la creme called the Pioneers Track Club, who were the elitists. Yeah, and we were the ghetto children, so we weren't even on their level. Okay, we were scrapping to find outfits to put on to run in, and they always had the nice outfits, and yeah.
I don't even know what to say. But yeah, I can ask him at this point because I don't even know how he came up with this idea to fix you from running sideways. But the tie.
Yeah.
That Coach Wisdom used. And he basically tie on the animal.
Yes. And Coach Wisdom spent so much time refining my technique, so much time straightening me out. Right? Because of course it wasn't just him. We had several other coaches.
Yeah.
Right? That were a part of the team. Because it was, after a while, became quite a bit of us there, right? So Coach Wisdom was the head coach. We had a bunch of assistant coaches. So the assistant coaches would take over the other athletes, while Coach Wisdom is spending all this extra time with his tie, trying to straighten me out and all the things that he was doing. And so he had other coaches to help train the other athletes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we fast forward. The best junior athlete in the world. Let's talk about the Grifters. We have to.
Yeah.
That's like the next step up.
Yes. So, of course, I competed in 1982 so Coach Wisdom started like right around 1980, 1981. Tying my hands, doing all the different things he was doing, trying to straighten me out, right? And so we go to Jamaica for the Grifter Games. So this was my first time really putting on the Bahamas colors and represent the country, because when we would go to the Northwest Classic and those meets in Florida, it was just, we were representing the Baintown Flyers, right? So we got to Jamaica. We're staying at this school, but it was really, it had a farm, right? And oh my goodness, that was quite an experience, right? So so early in the morning, the chicken would go cock-a-doodle-doo, like wake you up, and then I was always I should say I became an early riser from early morning training.
Yeah,
and so we didn't really. I remember Coach Wilson was sitting on the step. He didn't really have no place to sleep. The coaches didn't really have, because we stand at a school, it's not enough space or everything like that. So I get up and I come out. I had to jump over Coach Wisdom, right, to explore the farm. Coach Wisdom was on the steps sleeping because yeah, there was no place for him to sleep. Him and some of the other coaches. But anyway, and so I watch the Jamaicans. I said they milk the cow, and then they take the big bucket and they put it on the big fire thingy. I guess they're boiling it or whatever. And I'm like, wow, because here in the Bahamas, I've never been in a farm before, so I don't know what it is to be in a farm. So it was very interesting. And of course, we had the milk from the cows, and then like we had a little breakfast stuff they fed us, and then we had to we got into like a army truck. That's what take us to the competition, and the one that I was on, several of us were on, it caught a fire. So we literally had to jump out of the army truck into the bushes. So we got all scratched up.
You think they're trying to psych y'all out? Like, you think they did it on purpose?
That's it. Like you tell you, real movie vibes.
That's what they said.
I can't say if they were doing it on purpose. All I know that's what happened, right? It was pretty darn right scary, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to the track, and oh my goodness, the Jamaicans really gave us a royal beatdown.
Wow.
I mean, pretty much in every event, we were dropping down like flies, right? Because we weren't really eating. Because we stand on a farm and it smells really bad. And so, I mean, the Jamaicans like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. I remember our premier, Sir Lyndon Pingling, he sent a plane full with food and chefs to come and cook for us, right? So we could eat properly. Jamaica still gave us a good royal beatdown. And I finished second in both of my events. And from there, so later on, a few months later, we went on to Barbados. And that is where the Golden Girl name came from. So Bahamas placed me. I did the 1, the 2, the 4, and the long jump. I was supposed to do the shot put. Right? Yeah. When I look across, I saw this big Cuban girl. Right? And I mean, she was like, I mean, throwing that shot, but she wasn't playing. She had her hair tied up and everything. She's a big girl. And I just see when she threw that shot, but I was like, I bust out crying.
They said you were the golden girl, man. You could do anything.
But I wasn't quite a golden girl yet. It was after that meet, after I won the 4 goals. It was when by the time I got back to Nassau, the sports writers dubbed me the golden girl. So that's where the golden girl name came from. I'm the original one, like you rightfully said at the beginning of the show. I am the original golden girl because the sports writers is the first time in history that an athlete have ever won 4 gold medals. Yeah.
Serious thing.
So I'm trying to unpack. It's just unpacking everything, right? It's just unpacking everything. Because Jamaicans are proud athletes,
Right.
right? What was going through your mind when, like, through the races, right? Take us through like that first gold medal. On that race when you got that first gold medal from the start to finish. Your heart, your mind, your body, what was going through your mind, even the conditions. I know we had an episode when we talked about the zone. Right? What was going through your mind through that race? And how did you feel once you finished and you realized that everyone you were running with was behind you?
I didn't realize that until towards the end. One of the things for us athletes, and people don't know this, is that it's great pride to put on your country colors. And when you put on your country color, you feel like a superwoman, Superman, and you want to do right by her. And do you know what is, for us athletes, what is the number one thing? What do you think the number one thing is for us when we go to these big meets?
Country.
To see our flag
Raise.
Yeah. Because we're the pimple on the body.
Yeah.
So we like the pimple to have her day. So we love to see when she stand. I don't know if you ever notice, every time our flag is raised, just look at her elegance. Just look at how she's up there like a queen.
Yeah.
The whole flag is open and she's just there and she's just like majestic. And it is one of the greatest feelings in the world. And that's why we do what we do. We do just so that we can see our flag raised someplace else. And so, we just want to make sure the pimple have her day. That's what the American calls the pimple on the butt. So we like for the pimple to have her day. So it just gives you a sense of satisfaction and going out there and competing against the world. Us being this little dot on the map. It just shows you that God give each of us that come to earth, we all have gifts and talent. And no one has more than the other. And so when I was in Barbados, and by the way, they had to those little makeshift bathrooms outside, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the boys used to be they'd be peeping through there. So I used to get up early in the morning and take my little shower, do my little wash up or whatever. But back to the question, each time I would get out there and I would run, I did it for my country, the Bahamas, and I also did it to make Coach Wisdom proud, because he was the one that initially believed in me so strongly, and people said a lot of things that were negative, but he never let that deter him. He stayed focused, and he made sure that I stayed focused. And all the athletes that he was coaching, he made sure that we all stayed focused. And we were able to go out and did what we did. And what people don't realize that 3 of the 5 Golden Girls were coached by Coach Wisdom originally. Yeah. That's LD's, Chandra, and myself. We were all in the Baintown Flyers Track Club.
Legendary.
Yep. And Sabathita was coached by his brother, Evan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the 3rd gold medal at the Crifto, after at Barbados, right? What was the drive? I know you said the see the flag raise. Take me through the fourth event, because now you're in the fourth event, so you're okay. If I do this, I get my fourth gold medal. I can see the queen majestically raise again. What? I mean, there's no other motivation needed or no other driving force needed. But how was that fourth one after? How was that fourth one?
That fourth one was, first of all, I was feeling just a little bit tired, but I knew that I had to push. And of course, Coach Wisdom always come and, do my shoulders and, okay, Pearl. He calls me Pearl. And he's like, okay, Pearl, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And I think that I really did that because I really pushed hard for two reasons. One of them was because of Coach Wisdom, because he just was so gung-ho on me, and he believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. And so I wanted to make him proud. I really wanted to make him proud, and of course by extension make my country, the Bahamas, proud. And I remember when I won that last gold medal, I mean, Coach Wisdom just hugged me, and he started to cry, and I started to cry, and so we just had a little cry fest. Because I think right there and then, this is what I'm thinking. I didn't ask him, but I'm thinking that it proved to the naysayers that
you are the phenomenal athlete.
Yes, I think that's when it really showed that this little girl is really the phenomenal athlete. I also discovered that when the world saw me first, they started telling the Bahamas, say, Bahamas, you got you a world beater, finally. Yeah. Right? I didn't know anything about it. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about it. So I guess that's why I faced so many different obstacles, because it's not just because Wisdom saying it now, but now the world is saying, Bahamas, that little one right there, oh yeah, you finally got you one. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I like even more about the story is your coming of age was the same as the Bahamas coming of age. So y'all was coming of age at the same time. So
right.
It's like, only thing you could have do is bring your country up by being great. So.
Yeah. But remember the village in Baytown? Yeah. They are part of that too.
Yeah.
Because of the love that they showed me. And I don't think I would have been able to sustain all the things that I had to face in my life if I didn't have that type of upbringing as a kid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the building blocks in place. So when they lick, I won't fall.
Yeah.
So I give a lot of credit to Baytown. I give a lot of credit to those adults who were in Baytown who helped me to become who I am, who helped to raise me and kept my feet firmly planted. So yeah, they built me Teflon strong.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and with that going of age, the next career stuff was back home, right? In the Bahamas.
It was 82, 83. The 84 one was back home in Bahamas, yeah. And so my first was in Jamaica, 82, then Martinique in 83. And we beat Jamaica then too. Yeah. Yeah. And then 84 was here in the Bahamas. Whew, that one was, I think I was so focused on trying to do really well at home, in front of the home crowd. This would be the first time that Bahamians would really truly see me in action, in a sense, what I'm saying in action. Because, I ran the club meets and things like that, and I ran the high school meet, but it's not the same thing, as I said, when you put on the colors of your country. That's a whole different level when you put on the colors of your country. And so this would be the first time that Bahamians can, and even some of the people from Baytown could really come and see their daughter run,
Yeah.
And so I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. And it was my high school senior year, so you had to do the O levels and all that type of stuff, right? Anyhow, I end up pulling my hamstring about 3 months before the Carifta Games. And back then, when that happened, that's it. Your athletic career is like done, finished. That's it. You pull a hamstring. The next thing I know, Coach was saying, we got to go to Florida. There's some doctor up in Orlando. Got to go see this doctor. Let him check me out before we decide that's it or whatever. So that's what we did. Coach Wisdom took me to Orlando. I saw the doctor. And the doctor was like, yeah, she has a really bad tear. But I think because she's young, I think she should, be able to get over it or whatever. So Coach Wisdom brought me back to Nassau. And we trained morning and afternoon in the salt water. Every 6 days a week. Only was off on Sundays I could go to church. So 6 days a week. And like I said, Coach Wisdom, he spent a lot of time with me because, again, he had other assistant coaches that were coaching the other athletes, making sure they were okay. But Coach Wisdom was very hands-on with me. And so for probably around 3 months, we were training like that. The Carifta Trials came and went. The Bahamas Carifta Trials. Yeah. So, of course, I didn't participate in it. So one morning we got to Goodman's Bay and Coach Wisdom was like, okay, Pearl, we're getting in the salt water this morning. I was like, okay. He said, we're going to run today. And I'm like, I just start shaking. I was like, what? Because I've been in the salt water all this time. Yeah. Right? And they're saying that my athletic career was done. So you can imagine, it was just Coach and I. And he was like, okay, Pearl, I'm going to go to the bottom and I want you to stay right here, okay? And I was like, just nodding my head, right? No words could come out of my mouth because, of course, I was in shock and I was nervous at the same time. So he said, I'm going to go down to the bottom. He says, I'm going to put my hand up. And when I put my hand down, I need for you to start running towards me, okay? Run straight towards me. I was like, okay, Coach. So the whole time Coach was walking on, I'm just shaking. I'm just knees buckling, everything. He finally stopped up at a certain point. He turned around and he lifted his hand up and he put his hand down and I start running towards him. Then the next thing I know, he started running towards me. And I'm trying to figure, what the Coach doing? Why he coming towards me? Did he come towards him? What are he doing? Yeah. Anyway, so we literally we met up literally ran into each other. And Coach picked me up, right? And he spins me around. And I mean, he bawling tears. So I start crying. The two of us there crying, right? I mean, just tears flowing on our faces. And he gently put me to the ground. He says, Pearl, you're even better than before. And I was like, really, Coach? He's like, yes, Pearl, yes. So I got all excited. Oh, I'm going to call my mommy, call my daddy, call Mom Wisdom, call Andre. These are the people in my life who, that village that was intimately close to me, right? Yeah. He was like, shh, Pearl, you can't say a thing to nobody. Don't say nothing. I will let you know when it's okay for you to say something, okay? Okay, Pearl? It's like, okay, Coach. A few days went by. I hadn't heard anything from Coach or anything like that. So then he finally comes to me. He says, Pearl, they're going to allow you to have a tryout. Because the Carifta Trials already came and gone. They're going to allow you to have a tryout. I said, really? He said, yes. But what happened, none of the athletes that actually weren't a part of my track club, those that ran at the Carifta Trials, ran against me. It was 3 of my government high teammates that ran with me. So I ran the 200 meters. I ran with them. I won the 200. Don't know what the time I ran or anything like that. And the next thing I know, a few weeks later, I was named to the team as an alternate. Then the night before, probably around 10 o'clock at night, the team manager came and said, Davis, you're running tomorrow. I'm like, what? I know it's 100 meters. Heats is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning. I'm like, what? I'm running? What? So anyway, I mean, I was so nervous. I didn't even really sleep, right? Anyway, the next morning, I think that was like around 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Got out to the track and it was filled to the max. These are rounds. It was filled, no empty space anywhere. Filled to the max. I guess word had gotten out that I was going to be running or whatever. And plus it's Carifta. You know how the Bahamians go with our track thing. We ain't missing Carifta.
No.
They remember in high school, how packed it used to be back in the day too? So anyway, I got to the track and I remember walking out onto the track and the Bahamians went ballistic, right? My knees start shaking. Everything started buckling on me. Like I'm literally like shaking. I'm so nervous. Like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm walking. I feel like I'm walking to to the slaughter. So I'm walking down the track and I could hear my fellow Bahamians saying, "We love you, Pauline. It's going to be okay. Let's go, girl. You got to do it. You got to do it." Right? So I'm like, okay. I'm saying to myself, okay. I'm talking to myself, okay. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Right? So anyway, of course, I ran my first round. I won my first round. Everything was okay. I didn't feel any pain, anything like that. Went through all the different rounds and then got to the final. I came out of that block like a bullet train. Gone. I broke the world junior record. And the vice president for World Athletics, which used to be at the time IAAF, was there, sitting right there in the stand. And Victor Lopez, who represented the NACAC area, they used to be all their coat suits and everything. They all filed down to take a look at the photo finish.
Yeah.
And they announced that, yes, based on this photo finish, that I did break the world junior record. Of course, later on, they gave me a hand time. Mm-hmm. Even the clock had the right time. I just believe it was taken away from me. Yeah. That was truly a very, 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 very sad day for me. Yeah.
Do you feel like, especially our country in general, you feel like you just wasn't ready for that moment?
Yeah, let me say this. Maybe the Bahamian officials. Remember I come from the lower rung, right? And this girl coming from outer Baintown beating up on our athletes and whatever. So it was more like a classism type of situation.
Yeah.
Who she thinks she is, Oh, she from Baintown. She ain't come from nothing. And now she come here beating up on our top athletes. And so I think it came from that point of view. And then I also think at this stage now the Bahamian world just loved me.
Yeah.
Right? The Bahamian just loved me. And that also created some issue because of the fact that I was so loved by the Bahamian people. They didn't like that either.
Yeah. What is crazy is that's still happening today, Jen. That's intense. And
it is most unfortunate that things like that are still happening today. But I often say to young people, they don't get to determine your destination. Only one man does that. So you got to stay focused. You got to keep working because God is the one who's in charge. And he's the one to give you your gift and your talent. When it's time for the world to see it, he will make sure that the world sees it.
Yeah. I agree. Then you had... Huh?
No, I so absorb.
It's a movie, mate. It's a movie. I'm telling you, it's a movie, mate. But then you also had a time to even make their hearts big in a way because there was also another event in that grifter.
Yeah. So it was the 4x4. So basically how Carifta works, right? Mm-hmm. You win based on how much gold medals you win. And then let's say, for example, if Bahamas have 20 gold medals, Jamaica have 20 gold medals. They're gonna go to the silver to decide who are the winners, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't supposed to run on that 4x4 relay team. Actually, I was actually sitting in the stand. When I got plucked out of the stand, one of the coaches came and said, Davis, come here. Get your stuff and come this way. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. And so I got my stuff and I came down off the bleachers because I was already all excited, for my teammates and everything. Not just me, but the other Bahamian athletes. We were all sitting all excited. Can't wait to see this 4x4. And so I didn't even really have time to proper warm up. So I would just run in. I don't know, you've been to the track, right? You come out to that little thing, that gate right there was up back and forth, trying to warm my body as quickly as I could warm it up.
Yeah.
Because I was not supposed to run. And Coach Wisdom was the head coach. Tommy Robinson, our first Olympian, was the assistant coach. So the two of them trying to decide where they're going to put me to run.
Yeah.
Right? And they decided that, okay, I'm going to anchor. I guess based on what they were seeing happening while the different athletes were running their legs. And when I say to you that I have zero recollection of that race, I have zero recollection of that race. I don't remember nothing about that race. All I remember is running up and down on the sideline. That's it. After that, I have no recollection of anything. Until this day, nothing. But based on what my teammates say and other persons who were in the stadium, I got the baton. When I received the baton, the athletes were by the 200-meter line. Okay? So only was 200 meters left to go when I got the baton at the starting line. And they said, I took the baton and I just put on one piece of running. They have never seen that like that in their life. And the Bahamians were on their feet. They would say there was no one sitting down. Everybody was on their feet. And I ended up running down every single one of those athletes. And I think it was the will of the Bahamian people. They literally willed me to that finishing line. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have no recollection. I only hearing the stories from other persons. They said there was no one in that stand that was sitting down. And they said the Bahamians, they were shaking the fence and hollering and screaming or whatever. And all they see me, I just kept coming. And the next thing they know, I ran right past the Jamaican athlete, right? And I guess I crossed the line and I passed out. I just remember waking up and all kind of people, like there were a lot of people on top of me trying to figure out what was going on because I was kind of delirious or whatever. And it was a little bit later on when I catch myself, I realized that I actually did win the gold for the country in that 4x4, which then moved us to becoming the FtI champions because we now tied Jamaica with same amount of goals. We had more silver than they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just one of them athletes, man. Like who had that 5th and 6th year? Like
she's a vessel.
Yeah,
like you said, the will and the purpose of the Bahamian people. Like the will of the Bahamians ran that race through you.
Yes. They pushed me. They were the one that pushed me to that finishing line. That pushed me, yeah. And I mean, that's when track and field was track and field back then. There was even no standing room. Even high school. I remember like even when I was at Government High, we coming down. Yeah. People line both sides. And we coming down in the middle. Okay? People used to plan their vacation run these high school championships.
All the stars, man.
Listen. So yeah, but the Bahamian people willed me to that finishing line, and boy, I got a lot of love, a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses, a lot of congratulatory remarks from my fellow Bahamian, and I think that's kind of when I kind of solidified myself with the Bahamian people. Yeah.
On home soil too.
Yeah. And that was the last time we won FtI, by the way.
Wow. Wow. Like, I even see you during these FtIs, you be trying to hype up the kids. Like, what is your best motivation tool to them?
Well, basically, I was saying to them, first of all, you're home, right?
Yeah.
You can't have other athletes come from other countries, come to your home soil and cut your bungie. right?
Yeah.
You can't let that happen. And what had happened, I was at the Carifta trials, and I just was not very impressed with our team at all. I was like, oh my God. The government of the Bahamas has spent all this money. Okay? The Bahamians are going to come to watch. And these kids look like they're ready. What is going on?
What if I say I've seen this happen multiple times in the last 20 years?
What you mean?
No, the same. I'm a sound scripter that's been here since 2000.
2 or 3 years. 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like every time I've seen it at home, saw the same result.
But except this time, though. They pushed,
Yeah.
and the people in the stand were happy. The Bahamians, they didn't expect for us to win, but I think they expect for us to be competitive, and the kids were competitive, and we did win some of the marquee events, and the Bahamians left that stadium happy. So I was saying to the children, I was like, listen, you got to take pride. I say, when you put on the black, gold, alchemy colors of our country, you know what that means? You can have some pride. And I said, listen. Every single one of y'all listening to me, y'all better go cut y'all movie, yeah? Go cut the movie. And the kids, they latch on to that. They thought it was the most hilarious thing, right? Yeah. And they were like, yeah. You hear what she just said? We got to go cut our movie. Yeah, we got to go cut our movie. So I think when I use the word go cut your movie, I think it resonated with the children, and that made them very excited. And so they were like literally bouncing off the wall. And this one young man come to me and say, Miss Pauline, I didn't make Carifta this year because I got injured, but I want you come back next year, Miss Pauline. I want you to give the same speech, okay? Yeah. I said, okay, baby. And so many of them came and gave me big hug and kisses. They said, Miss Pauline, you inspired us. That's why we were able to do what we did. Yeah. And the Bahamians, you were pretty much satisfied, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't expect us to win, but they did some things that made Bahamians happy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you understand me?
Because they did a lot of finals.
Yes, made a lot of finals, won some goals.
Some people surprised me. I was like, sub 10, hold on. Sub 10. Okay.
Yeah, so the Bahamians, like I said, I don't think we expected to win, but the Bahamians expected for us to be competitive. Yeah. With the Jamaicans and with the Trinidadians and people from Barbados and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of those kids, they were out there running their heart out. You could see that they were putting in the effort. They were trying. Yeah. And so it was a win-win situation for everyone.
I agree.
Even though we didn't win the actual overall thing, but the performance.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, but even with that, I want to move on to your collegiate and professional careers, like how you were able to take it to another gear now. I don't know, like, was there a limit to what you felt you could do? Did you feel like there was a glass ceiling or anything?
Never. I just, and I think it was my upbringing. Like I said, being raised by that village and just being able to be a child, just being able to be myself. Mm. And I felt like I didn't really have any restrictions. I could run around and have fun and do things. As long as I had manners and respect, and respect my elders, then I could, just be me. And during those times in Baintown, like I said, we leave that morning, we just had to get home before the sunset. Yeah. Right? So we could roam all over the place, go pick fruits, get sapodilly, mango, whatever. We want to go look for juju, whatever, right? Tamarind, whatever. And so it was that freedom to just run around as a kid and just to be me. So when Alabama. So interestingly enough, I'm the top junior sprinter in the world now. Mm-hmm. Coach Wisdom, when I asked Coach where was I going to university, he was like, university? But you didn't finish high school yet. I'm like, Coach, what are you talking about? What do you mean I'm not finished high school yet? Yeah. I graduated. I finished high school. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you who he promised me to, but he promised me to somebody, right? And so years before that, Coach Wisdom would often say, do never sign nothing unless you read it. Okay. Whatever Coach Wisdom said, that was gospel. Whatever my mom and daddy said, that's gospel, right? So he brought this document he wanted me to sign. I said, okay, Coach, sit down. Let me sit and read it first. And once I read it, I'll sign it. He's like, you don't have to read it. I just need for you to sign it. I said, no, coach. You told me don't never sign nothing unless I read it. So if you don't mind, sir, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to read it first. And then once I read it, I'm going to sign it. Coach was like, you don't need to do all of that. I was just looking at him and he looking at me, right? And he found us, picked up a piece of paper and gone through the door, right? Mm-hmm. So next thing I know, a couple of days later, the phone rings and I pick up the telephone. I said, hello. And the person on the other line was like, Pauline? This is Coach Wayne Willens from the University of Alabama. I'm like, okay. I said, yes, sir. He said, no one seemed to know what university you're going to be going at. And so I just try to call, I'm just calling you to find out, did you ready to decide what university you're going to be going to? And I'm like, no, coach. Silent on the phone. He was silent. I was like, hello? He finally came back on. He was like, so you telling me that you have not signed with nobody yet? My goodness. You're the number one junior sprinter in the world. Ain't no one has signed you yet. I said, no, coach. So I said, coach, so you say you're the coach of the University of Alabama, right? He said, yes, I am. So I said, coach, are you in the SEC? He said, most certainly, yeah. Alabama's a part of the SEC. I said, oh, I want to go to a school in the SEC.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay. So I said, coach, why don't you just send me the I-20? He was like, silent at first. Did you just say you want me to send you the I-20? I said, yes, coach. Can you get it to me very quickly, please, sir? Okay, as soon as I get off the phone, I'm gonna go get this sent to you, okay? I said, okay, coach. So he did that. I went and picked it up. I read every inch of it. Mm-hmm. I signed it, and I sent it back. But 2 days later, here come Coach Wisdom again with this document. So he's like, Pearl, I really need for you to sign this document. I said, Coach, I really need to read that document. He's like, but you don't need to read it. I'm your coach. I said, anyway. I said, guess what, coach? He's like, what? I'm going to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, baby. He was like, he was like, he literally had like feet for the table to sit down. Right? So he was like, what did you mean?
Yeah.
I told him the story. He said, I want to go to school in the SEC because the SEC is the top conference for track and field. That's where I want to go. Mm. Coach Williams, the coach from Alabama, already sent me the I-20 form. I done signed it and sent it back.
Yeah.
He thought he was about to have a massive heart attack. Until this day, I have no idea what school that was.
You don't know
what school he wanted?
What school he wanted? Yes, what school he wanted to send me to. Until this day, yeah. I have no clue.
Wow.
It was so bad that when I got to Alabama, my first track meet, these men with coat suit come up in front of me, right? Mm. You need to come with us. I said, excuse me? I said, sir, I don't know you. I don't know y'all. What you mean come with you? Mm. Right? Because then my daddy told me, don't go no place with no man. Mm. Right? So I'm a freshman. I'm looking at him like, you're two men. I'm not going nowhere with y'all. I'm like, sir, I'm sorry, but I'm not going nowhere with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Coach William was, but he heard a little commotion. He came and he was like, Pauline, it's okay. You could go on with them. Because now, I'm not sure which university might have called it NCAA because they figured Alabama must have done something to get me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're right. They paid me money or did something. Mm-hmm. So I go up to Coach Perkins' office and I'm sitting there and they're back and forth with me about how I got to Alabama, blah, 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 more blahs. But they keep asking me the same question, but there you go. They keep remixing it, right? So I finally look at them. I was like, I'm intelligent, right? I understand everything that you're saying to me, right? You keep asking me in all these different ways. You're going to always come out the same way. Mm-hmm. So till finally, Coach Perkins was like, okay, there's nothing here. We just got to let her go. So anyway, I left. I say, Coach Perkins, I can see you later, yeah? Because I have one track, but I got to go win now for Alabama. The two NCAA people look at me like, this girl had you no good.
So where we find her from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they would say I was wearing all these professional outfits,
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
the Bahamas was sponsored by that shoe company. So that's why I also had all the stuff I had. And I was the top sprinter for the country. Right? From I was 13, 14. So I would come home today, leave tomorrow for the senior team. So everybody would say I was wearing all these, name brand stuff and all. Yeah. So they probably figured Alabama must have bought me out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, they should have. You don't have plenty money right now. Well, plenty more money, but yeah. How do you initially find out about the SEC? Like, what drew you to the SEC?
So we used to go to Florida and different places to compete, right?
Yeah.
So I would just used to ask the question. I heard them talking about all these different conferences and things like that. So I was like, so what conference is the top conference? And they told me the SEC.
Okay.
So that's what I got into my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, what should I ask? What would you consider to be your top and your worst moments at Alabama?
I would say that my top moment at Alabama is like when I went there, just being the badass freshman, They used to call me the badass freshman. The rest of the schools used to call me that, the badass freshman, because I come in, because most of the time as a freshman, you're not coming in winning all these races, right? Mm-hmm. You don't tend to do it till like your junior year or something like that. And so my teammate dubbed me the badass freshman, right? Because I was winning races from the minute my feet start touching the track.
Yeah.
Right? And so I really enjoyed competing for Alabama. But one of the most difficult part was when I went to Alabama and I was taking this class and they were showing like a lot of slavery stuff. Mm-hmm. It was very difficult for me to understand and comprehend what was happening because I didn't face that at home. And then being called the N-word and having persons throw egg on me was not good. And in that particular class, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I would just be bawling my eyes out. I was getting very depressed at first because I wasn't exposed to all that slavery stuff, and we were really watching a lot of slavery stuff on the screen. And I remember this one guy said to me, he asked me, where was I from? So I said, I'm from the Bahamas. And he was like, why do you say you're from the Bahamas? I said, because I am. I said, you're an American, so you're from America. He looks at me stone-faced. He said, why don't you say that you're black? And I literally froze. I was like, what? He said, you're black. You're a nigger, aren't you?
Wow.
And I was just like, complete shock. I did not even know how to respond to him because growing up, those type of things never came up.
Yeah.
It just never did. So I would just think of, I'm a Bahamian, you're an American, whatever. And so that was quite a shocker for me. And so I remember the quarterback. We had a class together, and he was like, okay, we had some exams coming up. So he said, well, let's just do some studying or whatever together. So we can help each other out. No problem. So we met and we studied, doing our little study and everything like that. And he was like, okay, let's go grab something to eat and let's just sit at the lake and have it or whatever. So I'm not thinking anything. I'm like, okay, sure. Because there's a lot of sitting at the lake too. So the next thing I know was time for us to leave. And he came around to open the door to let me to the passenger side. Well, he pushed me onto the car, right? And then he landed his lips on my lip. And I was like, and I'm looking around, I'm starting to freak out, like, what are you doing? Of course, I was like, take me home, like, right now. So he took me home and everything, and we're talking while we're driving and everything. He's telling me, he likes me, he thinks I'm a beautiful girl, and da-da-da-da, and whatever. He wants to go out with me, and I'm like, you are white, I'm black, and you are the quarterback. No, I'm probably going to be, I said, listen, I have no intention of going back home to the Bahamas in a body bag.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. So I just cut off communication with him. Of course, he still tried to reach me a couple more times. I was like, oh no, mm-mm.
Too white profile.
Yes.
Connections back then. Worst person could see that.
And yes, what? At the University of Alabama, Crimson Tide. Oh.
So this might be too far-fetched, but you think that Coach Wisdom, since he already had his connections already, maybe it wasn't towards a big program like Alabama. Do you think he picked that school for you to protect you from stuff like that?
I don't know. Growing up back then, I just thought that I am dark, you are light, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm dark as a black person. You are light. I just never think of, because I just wasn't exposed to.
Your class.
Still ain't even like that even up to this day. Like where it's, I mean, it's a little bit more blended now, but it's still that dichotomy of how we were raised versus
how they were raised. And tell you what, my younger siblings, their parents, because my father worked for a white person, right? But my younger siblings, godparents, right? And they never treated us any differently.
No.
When they buy stuff for everybody. When we all go to the house and be in the pool, they hug and kiss all of us. So I was colorblind. Like, I just never thought that something was wrong with my color.
Yeah.
Because the white people that I was exposed to never treated us like that. And so going to Alabama was a culture shock, a serious culture shock. And it wasn't that there were no black people there. There were black football players there too. Mm-hmm. Other black athletes, female athletes like me were there. So it just that Alabama is in the South, and it's probably one of the more racist states in the South, right? Mm-hmm. And during that time when I went there, it just was not, I got a shock of my life. So the funny thing is, when I came back home that December for my break, I go up to Coach Cartwright, right? I looked at Coach Cartwright. I say, Coach Cartwright, you are white. He said, Pauline, if you don't get out of my face, talking stupidness, you done gone to that university and put all kind of stupidness inside your head. You come here and come tell me that I'm goddamn white. It was like the scale came off of my eyes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's a serious thing. So I guess going through all that struggle too. How was the track like? Well, how was the track life at Alabama? Going against other SEC schools today.
Oh my gosh! So I get to Alabama, and all 4 years we were up for the national title. Mm. It was a pressure cooker.
Every year.
It was a pressure cooker, but like I say, they call me the badass freshman. So I'm a badass freshman, so I just go do what I got to do, and I just did the best that I could. We won conference a couple of times, nationals a couple of times, ended up losing one of the nationals and one of the conference, I think, because we had a young lady named Liz Lynch who was from Scotland, and apparently she was a very good runner. She was a 10,000 world champion. She had somebody gave her some money somewhere, and she tell them send it to the track club because there's some little children in the club, whatever, she wanted to help them out or whatever. But that's against NCAA rules. So we ended up losing our national titles and our conference titles, a couple of them like that. But other than that, I just go to college and I competed. It was every single time. You got to bring it. And that was just okay with me. Yeah.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a particular event during your collegiate career, like how you talked about some of the ones in your junior year? Do you have any of those moments that one race just stood out to you and you remember everything about it, or one race just stood out as just the race of your collegiate career?
Mm-hmm.
So my senior year probably was the year that really stood out to me a lot, because again, I got a hamstring injury my freshman year, which I had to sit out the whole year, my true freshman year. But my senior year, I ran the 400 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to run the 400 meters because I had getting like a flu, like a flu, but I had it really, really bad. So it really took a lot out of me. So coach felt that I probably should do the longer distance. I probably should do the 400. And on top of that, I was taking all these classes that were like very stressful, right? Because I'm trying to graduate. And I have these classes, and I used to train. As a matter of fact, that whole entire year, I didn't train with my teammates. Coach Williams and my college coach were the one who trained with me. Like, he'll pick me up at a certain part in the run, take me to the finishing line like that. So it was really him and I, or I would go to class. Once I finished that class, I'd come and train a little bit, go back to class, come back and train a little bit. So sometimes I was training like 3 times in a day, because based on how my classes were, because I'm trying to graduate. And so Coach Williams became like my training partner. So he'll run a certain part pick me up at a certain point in my run or whatever. And so it was really just like this is the two of us out there for that whole entire year, just him and I. And I remember, so we talked about it, and he was like, Pauline, I think that maybe doing the 400 might be better based on how we've been training and the fact that we didn't have a lot of time to do all that hard sprinting and all that type of stuff. So I agree. And I said, okay, coach. Plus I used to run very good 4x4s prior to that.
Yeah.
On the relay team, the 4x4 relay. So we decided that, okay, we're going to go for the 400 meter at nationals, just because of my schedule and everything. That would be more conducive for me, and I wouldn't have to feel as stressed sprinting 100 and 200. So anyway, we got to Provo, Utah, and coach warmed with me, which a lot of the coaches were looking like, why is he warming up with her? But they wouldn't have known the dynamics, right? He'll warm up with me, and then he'll stretch me, watch me do all my drills and everything like that. And I ran the 400 meters for the first time at NCAA. And I won. So after I won, and coach come running towards me, right? And same thing like Coach Wisdom, he's bawling. And I'm thinking, like, oh gosh, okay, coach getting really emotional here because this is it. Yeah. This is he was like, oh my God, Pauline, you just broke the collegiate record. I said, what? You just broke the collegiate record. And the two of us there embracing.
Yeah.
balling, and yep, I broke the collegiate record, and it stand for over a decade in the 400 meters.
Wow.
So it kind of ended kind of similar
Same, yeah.
with Coach Rizzo as it did with Coach Williams. Yeah.
Destined.
Yep. That was a very, very, really, real special moment for the two of us. The two of us are sitting there crying and crying and crying, hugging and crying. Yeah, and that's because he literally trained with me the whole entire year because I didn't have anybody else to train with. Yeah.
So, coming back home, I guess training at Alabama, right? And coming back home, like doing the breaks doing the breaks. I won't get to after school yet. What were you able? Well, were you? I'm assuming you were around the Baintown Flyers.
Yes, my teammates.
So what tidbits or tips were you able to bring back to your teammates?
Well, in actuality, the same year that I went to university, Coach Wisdom decides to walk away from coaching. Yeah. I went into politics. Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember when he told it to me clear as day. We were going up this hill, Marlin Drive Hill, and he said to me, he says, Pearl, this is it. I'm not going to be coaching high school anymore. And he said, I was like, really, Coach? He says, no, he says, I'm going to go into politics. And I was like, what? What? And I start crying my eyes out. Like, I just start bawling. Like, why would you do that? Why would you go into politics? He had literally had to pull the car over on the side of the road and explain to me, Pearl, I'm trying to go into politics to do good. Good people go into politics. At the time, my mindset was that politicians weren't.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
We do.
They were in my mind. I was just like, how could you? Let's say, for example, some young person's going to bed hungry, and and you are living high on the hog with no consideration of this little boy, this little girl going to bed hungry. And so when Coach Wisdom told me that he was going into politics, it's like he became to me like a completely different person. Like, this is not my coach, Dad. You're not who I think you are. Why would you do that? Why would you go? Why would you go there? And so as a kid, that was my mindset. Remember, I come out of Baintown, right? So you can imagine
how you feel
how I feel towards politicians, and they live in high in the hog, and they are not they're not doing enough to help us young people who are underprivileged or whatever. So that was my mindset, and Coach Wisdom really sat there and really tried to explain everything to me, that he wanted to do so, he wanted to do good. And I recognize that there are some good politicians, that they're not all evil, they're not all in it for themselves. They really, really, truly want to help people. And so Coach Wisdom did a good job. It helped me to understand that dynamic and to know that not all politicians are evil. But in my head, I thought they were all evil as a child.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's a hard job. So
Yes.
I wouldn't take it on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true. But I guess you wanted to ask about the next step up also.
Yeah. So we've talked about, I guess your one junior race. We talked about your one collegiate race, right? The next step up is the Olympics.
Yeah. The Olympics. Ha. Well, I've been to 5 Olympics. I went to Olympics as a high schooler. Growing up, once I start training and competing as an athlete, I sense and feel things all the time. That's just who I am. And for whatever reason, I just sensed and felt that I was going to become an Olympic champion. Like I knew it. Even the Golden Girls, like I saw us winning this Olympic gold medal. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the time Eldis had just had a son. And I went to her. She wasn't trained or anything like that. And I went to her and I said to her, Eldis, we're going to win this Olympic gold medal in this 4x1. And she's looking at me like, what? I said, yeah, we're going to win this Olympic gold medal. Now, because Eldis and I grew up together, right? She knows that I tend to be like, if I say something is going to happen, it happens. Like, she can't explain, nor can I explain why. But let me give you an example. I can digress for a minute. So when I was in college, there are two prominent things that happened. So my roommate and I, we went to the little corner store, right, to get some stuff. But she was calling on for another friend because she couldn't remember all the stuff the friend wanted her to get. So I saw this car coming from a distance, and I said to her, I was like, Flo, get off that phone like right now. That man is going to grab you. Get off the phone. Right? And she's like, what are you talking about? She's on the phone, right? And the next thing I know, sure enough, that man pull up on the side and literally grab her, but she slide out of it, right? And start chasing us.
What?
We athletes, track athletes. I don't think he knew we were track athletes, right? And we escape him, right? Another time was like a whole bunch of us was standing in the street. My teammates, we was all standing underneath the tree, and all of a sudden, I got a premonition that this limb is gonna come down off the tree, right? So I shouted at them, "Everybody, get from that tree, like right now! Come on, that tree, come, boom, 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 boom!" And sure enough, boom, boom, boom. Wow. They're like, Pauline, how do you know this? How did you know that? I'm like, I don't know. I just saw it happening. Like, what? What do you mean you just saw it happening? I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I just saw it happening, right? And so it's the same thing with the Golden Girls. I saw us winning this Olympic gold medal, right? And it was the same 5 girls, right?
Yeah.
At the time, Ellis was retired, had a baby and everything like that. Had no plans, as far as I knew, of coming back to track and field.
Yeah.
So I convinced Eldis. But Eldis is used to me because during our childhood, there are a bunch of different things that would happen, but I would know it was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah. So
she convinced the other girls. They said, listen, I know Pauline sounds crazy, but I can't really explain it to you. But every single time Pauline says something going to happen, it happened. I don't know how, but it just happened.
Yeah.
Okay? So you just have to believe if she said we're going to win this Olympic gold medal, we're going to go win this Olympic gold medal. Right? So anyhow, so she helped me talk to the other girls, right? But before that, I saw Debbie Ferguson. I'm 10 years older than Debbie Ferguson. Mike Sands, who was the president of the Beach Race at the time, told me I had to come home and run the trials, right? And I'm like, this man making me buy a ticket to come home to run when I have nobody to compete against. At this stage, my daddy's already dead and buried. My mommy's there struggling, working how many hours? She's a nurse, working how many hours trying to make sure to keep roof over my siblings' head and put food on the table. And now this man want my mommy to go buy a ticket for me to come to Nassau to run a race by myself. So I was not happy at all. I was so upset. Mike pretty much said, well, you don't come home and run, you're not going to be competing. Wow. Right? So I came home. And I ran by myself. And as I came out through the gate, that side gate there, that they normally check you in at, you leave out of, I turned right, to head toward the ladies' bathroom. And I just heard this person saying, Miss Davis, may I have the pleasure of speaking to thee? And I spinned around. And I look, and there's this little girl standing there with headlights on. She's just like, mouth open, and, her head bobbling, her fingers going, and she's looking at me like I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? Mm-hmm. And I stand there and I looked at her, and I said, what is your name? She looked back at me. She says, Debbie Ferguson, ma'am. So I looked at her. I said, young Miss Debbie Ferguson, I don't want you to be just like me. I want you to be better than me. She said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I walked away. And I must have walked probably about 60, 70 meters. And I spin back around. And she was still standing there, shaking, mouth wide open, just watching me walk away, I guess.
Yeah.
And she didn't disappoint. Of course, we know she went on to do some great things. And I've had to apologize to Mike Sands because for being so angry, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think that's how God wanted it to be. He wanted me to come home for her to see me, to inspire her.
Yeah.
You understand? So, yeah, that's that. So, there have been some good times and there have been some rough times, but back to that conversation about the Olympic medal, right? Mm-hmm. So Elvis had to convince the other girls that if I say we're going to win this Olympic gold medal, we are going to win this Olympic gold medal. Because I saw Ellis was a part of it, but Ellis was retired. So I had to get Ellis out of retirement. Mm-hmm. You got to come back and train. You got do whatever I need to help you, to get you back to where you need to be, whatever. And of course, we get to Atlanta, Georgia. And we finished second, right? Mm. Chandra's looking at me like, I thought you said he's going to win this Olympic gold medal. What happened to the Olympic gold medal? Yeah. And he said he's going to win Olympic gold medal? I'm like, Chandra, I know what I saw in my dreams, okay? Or my premonition, whatever you want to call it. And we won Olympic gold, okay? So I said, it's probably not the 96 Olympics. Probably going to be the 2000 Olympics. Yeah. We're going to win Olympic gold 2000. That's when we're going to win this Olympic gold.
Yeah.
Chandra looking at me like, this girl get on my nerve. She really get on my nerve, right? So this LDs. Yeah. Probably going to be 2000. I'm sure that's when we're going to get that Olympic gold medal.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense. Yeah. I've got to give that to LDs. LDs be backing me up because we spend a lot of time together. And she knows that I don't know, what do you call the
premonition?
Thing?
Yeah.
It was sent to me in the spirit.
It was sent to me. It was sent to me in the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was. That's how I've always been like that. I see things in my spirit. I sense and feel things.
See the visions.
I see visions. Yeah. And sure enough, 2000.
Yep.
Yep.
Iconic. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe that. Yeah. Kind of midway for everything else. Came afterwards.
Yeah. And I thank the girls for believing in me, right? Thank them for really through Elise, I should say, because Elise was the one that really convinced them that. Yeah, she was really the one that said, yeah. Can't explain it. Every time Pauline says something, this happened. And then, of course, my roommate and friend, Dr. Flora Hyacinth, she knew I was that I'm like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
At Alabama.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. How do we top that?
Like I said, this is a movie.
It's a movie.
It's like,
actually, now that we have talked about what's the race that you ran against Marilyn Jones?
Marion Jones.
I know it was going to be unavoidable.
Yeah, so the Marion Jones saga. So, of course, I ran against her and everything like that. And remember I said that I also knew I was going to win an Olympic gold medal. Mm-hmm. Right? That's my last dance. This is it right here. Right? And, of course, that didn't happen at the time. I finished second to Marion Jones. Mm-hmm. But I was still bouncing off the wall, right? I was still very excited because I'm saying, okay, I'd heard they would do a blood test, right? And urine test. So I'm like, okay, they do the blood and the urine test. I know for sure when they do the blood, they're going to catch her. They just do urine.
Oh, so you knew?
Yes. In track and field, you don't go from 0 to 60. Any athlete you see in track, if you go from 0 to 60, all your eyebrows and everything else and every hair in your body was a stand at attention. Okay? Yeah. Because I had competed against her the year prior at Georgia Tech, and she ran like almost 11.7, like she ran 11.60 something, and she, and then a few months later, she's running for World Championship gold. I was like, what? You don't work like that. So anyway, when I didn't win that gold in Sydney, even though I knew I was going to win a gold medal, I just couldn't figure it out. But I was still optimistic when we went to drug testing. Yeah. So I remember saying to the drug tester, I said, okay, because first they take your name, they look at your badge and all that stuff. I was like, so we're doing urine and blood today? And the tester was like, no, we're just gonna do urine. I said, what? You mean I ain't gonna win my Olympic gold medal today? I ain't get this gold today? Yeah. Right? Her coach was like right in the corner over there. And he looked at me and I looked at him. He shot me a nasty look and I shot him double nasty look. Right? Mm-hmm. And so that was it. I remember I came home for the celebration. My cousin Annette, I call her, she's one of my biggest supporters, one of my biggest fans. And every time I would win these medals, Annette will cook up a storm. She'd cook all my favorite stuff and she'd make sure, let me know and I go over there and whatever. This was always our thing, right? Mm. And she was so crazy about Otto Bolden, right? She just thinks he's the cutest thing since sliced bread. So she wanted me to tell her everything about Otto Bolden, right? So anyway, so I go over there to her house. She did the same. She cook up everything, and she had conch and lobster and all kind of cook up good Bahamian food, right? Yeah. And I'm eating, and we laughing, we talking everything, and I'm like, but Anna didn't even ask to see the medal. Right? She didn't even ask to see the medal. And I had the medal on, I put it on before I came out of the car. Oh, yeah. Right? To go in so she could, because I know what she wanted. She want to feel it up. She want to take photos. She want to do nothing. Yeah. So I said, okay, all right. So I sat and we ate and we talking until I finally was like, Nat, what happened? You don't want to see the medal? You don't want to take a photo? We don't want to do anything with it? She look at me. She look at me. She says, no. I do not want to see that hideous medal because that is not a medal that you won. You won the gold medal. That girl, Marion Jones, stole your medal. And if it takes 10 years, you're going to get your medal back. Sure enough, 9 years. Within 9 years, I got a medal, just like she said.
Yeah. Storybook.
It's just being there in the moment, just like, picturing it's like how you're telling the story. I'm just there, like I could see it playing in my head as it's going through. So getting like lost for words, getting just being in the moment. It's like as you're telling the story, as you're narrating, I'm just like I'm there, like looking at it. I'm sitting at the table with y'all, just watching y'all eat, listening to y'all conversation. Yeah. It's just like that. I love this. I love this. Thank you for coming again.
Thank you for inviting me. My publicist Susanna, man, she keeps saying the same thing. And my ghostwriter, Mr. Jeff Todd, who helped me write my book, he's saying the same thing. They just keep speaking it because they think that this book needs to be turned into a movie. And like I said,
that's your purpose.
If that happened, I definitely wanted I wanted them to come to the Bahamas. And I want him to shoot it in the Bahamas.
was that a premonition already?
No, you know what? I don't have my premonition like I used to. I do not have it. What happened? I lost 2 children, but my daughter, I actually died twice in delivery with her, and my doctor told me that they had nothing to do with saving my life. That it was divine intervention because I was gone, right? So I lost that, I think.
That brought you back?
I don't get those. I don't get those premonitions like I used to. But I guess every now and then I could sense and feel things, but not like before. It ain't the same thing. I have a discerning spirit. Like I could tell people who are mean spirited or people who don't mean people well. Like I could still pick that out a little bit, but my premonition is not as strong as it used to be. It's not clear as day like it used to be. So, for example, now that I know you, you might, there may be someone who come to talk to you or whatever, and they're talking to you or whatever, and I could sense that this person don't mean you no good. Like I could, a little bit of it, but it's just not as strong. It's not as strong as before. No.
What was your final thoughts when it was time for you to retire and all that stuff, and then transition to something else?
My final thought was that it was time that I wanted to leave off the scene and win a medal. That's why the Olympics was it for me, and then I wanted to start my family. I felt so blessed and so grateful to my country, the Bahamas, who helped me to become who I am. All the people that I came in contact with that showed me love, those that hugged me, those that, let me tell you, every day I walk these streets in the Bahamas, the people of the Bahamas show me so much love. So much love. I could be here until I'm going to be 58 this year, until I turn 58, till, in my next life or something. But the love of the Bahamian people is for example, I take my car to the shop. My car was in the shop for 3 days. The gentleman handed me the keys, and I said, "Oh, I did not pay yet. What is the cost of it?" He said, "Have a blessed day." Yeah? I go to the dock to get some fish. So I'm getting the snapper because I love snapper. I get in the snapper, and I see the gentleman with some lobster, right? So I was like, "Sir, how much are you selling? How much are the lobsters?" And he's like, "Just give me a second," because somebody else come up behind me, right? So he served that person, and then when the person left, he hands me the bag of lobster, and he says, "This is for all the thrills you have given me over so many years, and I love you." And I'm like, No. I just want a few lobster. I don't want this whole bag. Just a few. He's like, "I'm blessing you with it.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day." I go home and I open that bag. 56 lobsters inside of that bag. I go to Wendy's and I want to get something to eat. And the gentleman in front of me, he's looking at the menu. He's like, "Oh, not sure what I want." He's like, what would you like on this menu? I say, "I just always just get the salad." I say, "Yeah, that's it. That's what I usually just get, just the salad." He's like, "Oh, okay." So he got his stuff and he gone about his business. And I said, "Okay." And I'm saying, "I would like to have that salad, blah, 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 blah." And the girl looks at me and says, "The gentleman who just left paid for your salad." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, he paid for your salad." I could be here until I turn 58 again, meaning in my next life, and I still can't give you all enough. It'll be difficult for y'all to believe how much love I get in this country. It'll be this lady, she came to this gentleman. So I was at Goodman's Bay, right? Doing a little work and everything. So he said, this is my third day coming in there looking for you. It's like, your third day? He's like, yeah. He said, but anyhow, don't move, okay? You stay right there till I come back. I was like, okay, sir. He'd walk a few steps. He'd turn around and make sure I'm still standing the same. So I'm standing there because, okay. He comes back and he brings this bag full with mangolas. He said, I heard you on the television a couple of days back, or the radio a couple of days back, saying how much you love mangoes. I handpicked these especially for you. I said, what? Oh, they were so juicy. Mangoes. Listen, these are stories. These stories I'm telling you all continue to happen. These are things that happen in my everyday life when I walk these streets in the Bahamas. Bahamian show me so much love. They come and they hug me. They tell me how much they love me. They tell me they cover me in prayers. Sometimes we stand there having a cry fest. Yeah. but it is just so Bahamian is what I want to use. And I was offered so much to leave our country. Even a rich man too and all. But I couldn't walk away. I couldn't walk away because that love that Baintown gave me, that love that my extraordinary Bahamians, when I walk these streets every single day, that love that they give to me is incredible. I remember I had a little repair at my house, right? And I go to get some sand. And when the lady saw me, it's the first time she ever seen me in her life. And she just hugs me and she's kissed me up on my cheek and she's telling me how much she loved me and she's crying. So the two of us having a cry fest. We right there crying, right? Because the first time I'm meeting this lady. And so I got the sand, right? I can't tell you how much sand this lady sent me. So I call it my love sand. I share with my neighbors. Okay. So we'll be here for a very long time.
Yeah.
For me to tell you all these stories. But that's my life every single day when I walk the streets. Sometimes I just feel when somebody just touch my shoulders, right? And I turn around and the person would say, these shoulders carry a lot. But I just want you to know I've been praying for you. I've been covering you in prayers and that I love you. We are some beautiful people. And I worked for tourism for 20 years, right? Do the Bahama Host Program and all these different things. And they would say it's the sun, and the sea, right? That allow visitors to come here. That's not the truth. The real truth is the indomitable spirit of the Bahamian people. It's our good morning, good afternoon, how you doing? How can we help? And I'm literally afraid that if we don't get our act together, we're going to all end up starving in this country. We can never forget as a people who we are. They love our heart and our spirit. And that is why they keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And we could never, ever get away from that as a nation. So it's important that these young people that we're raising now, that they understand. You must have manners. You must have respect. Because it takes you all over the world. It opened doors for you. And these gifted legs coming from Baintown took me to 177 countries where I never paid a dime. Not one dime. 177 countries, and some of them I repeat many times. So I feel truly blessed. Truly, truly blessed to come from such a beautiful country. And I hope and I pray that we continue to be beautiful people from the inside and exuded from the outside. And that collectively, we all have to raise these young people. We need that village called Baintown that raised me. We need to surround that around all of our young people that are coming through our system now. Show them that type of love. Sometimes it's stern love, but it's still love. Mm-hmm. And I just don't like the direction I see our country going into right now. These young people, I remember I went to the high school track meet, and the children was using the big 5-pound F words. I thought I was about to faint. I couldn't believe my ears. What are we doing? What are we doing as a nation? We got to get back to our roots. We got to get back to that. And I understand that this is the land that God lives. And he has to live here because he made us so beautiful. And I ain't the only one that say that. The astronauts said the Bahamas is the most beautiful country in space. Mm-hmm. And I concur, because these gifted legs took me to 177. And all the ones I've been to, they ain't more beautiful. So we all have to be grateful and thankful every day that God wake us up and we have this special breath. And every single one of us have to do our part to help to raise the future generations of Bahamians.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And
yeah.
I don't even know where to go from there, but I will say this.
Yeah. Before we started recording, you mentioned that you have a second edition of your book.
Yes, it's now, which is a big deal.
Okay.
The publisher says it's a big deal for publishing.
We need it.
So my book is now in paperback, and it mentioned in the book, the two major international awards that I won, and that first one is the Academy Award for book writing. It's the same one that Pope Francis won. Wow. And the second one is from the American Sports Writers Association. So I feel so thrilled about it. And on top of that, there is a let me show you. So you see how we have all of these. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not sure where the camera is. How we have all these different different persons that
talk about it.
Talk about my book, and they talk about they give, I guess you call these like
the insight and opinion. The insight on it.
Yeah, they would have.
Reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No.
Okay, so I got one. Did I bring it with me? I think I have it in the car.
Okay.
So we're back from break. I see you have your package. You want to show us what's in the package?
Yes. So, in this package is the second edition of my book. But more importantly, it has one of the person that endorsed this book, have read this book and love this book, heartthrob Lenny Kravitz. So you can see him, you can see right there. And I first met Lenny Kravitz several years back. And when he saw me, he ran up to me. He ran up to me, and then you could see the international thing is embedded inside of the book right there. Yeah. That one. And when I first met Mr. Kravitz was some years back, and this person just ran up to me and hugged me and just tell me how I'm his favorite athlete and how he loved me so much. And then I was like, when I stepped back and I looked, it was Lenny Kravitz. I almost lost my mind. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he's telling me that when he was a kid, when he was younger, I was competing at the 84 Olympics. And his grandfather took him to watch the Olympic Games.
Wow.
And he watched me run. So it's so refreshing,
Full circle,
that I now have a quote from him.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very excited about that. And then, of course, embedded in this book is the International Award, which is really the Academy Award for Book Writing, which is the same one that Pope Francis won.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So
It deserves it, though. I will say that. I will say that. I was like, gee, what's going? Whoa.
yes. And on here, that's me at Alabama. It's my Alabama uniform, which they just kind of took the Alabama out. And this was in Provo, Utah.
Okay. I was wondering. I was like,
This photographer said, the photographer was like, there's a beautiful field in the back. I'd like to take a photo of you running through this field. You don't want to know what this photo costs.
You have to license it.
yeah.
No, it belongs to photographers. He said, whenever you if you ever need a photo, just look me up and let me know. And when I did, he had sold his catalog to Getty Images. And apparently the sports photos are very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pretty penny.
This is about 3,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And my publisher, I didn't know I was in a race, right? They entered this book into this award thing.
Yeah.
Without saying, unbeknownst to myself and Jeff Todd, who had me write a book and everything, we had no idea that we were in any race.
Wow.
And the way they explain it is they said that, so they enter the book, which there's over 10,000 entrants, and they said the next thing they know, so it's like running a race. You have to run the heats, quarterfinal, the semifinal, and the final. So it's like I just kept moving up. Then I got to the final and won the whole cotton caboodle, and they were like, "What?" Yeah.
Yeah, you was definitely winning that.
Yes. So that's it.
Yeah. My last words are, you pretty much the matriarch of sports for our country. No exaggeration. That's how I feel about it. I feel like sort of like how Jackie Robinson is. Jackie Robinson is for the States. You pretty much are Jackie Robinson. You pretty much had to take all the attacks and the blows and open the door for everybody else.
And kept pushing forward.
Yeah. So that's how I feel.
Thank you so much. Like I said, you got to thank the people of Baytown for that.
Yeah.
Giving me a good solid footing to go and face the world. I think that if I didn't have that, probably would have been impossible for me to get through what I got through.
Yeah,
dealt with things that I had to deal with that you would have read in the book. There's no way. But having a good upbringing really, really helps you. And that's why it's so important now that we show our young people a whole lot of love and we discipline them when they need to be disciplined. But we still, that one is called tough love, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely need to read the book too, because it helps a lot.
Yeah. So and this version is gonna cost a little bit less because it's paperback versus the
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Any more closing words, sir?
No, I don't have any. It's just been thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Like I said, like Justin said, when we were going through the time, it doesn't feel like that because we were just so into the conversation. Time just stopped and it just flowed. This was a brilliant conversation. Thank you again for coming. We do have a tradition here, right? We want to know, what are you most fanatical about in your life at this point in time?
What am I most fanatical about? Well, right now, for me, I want to I'm happy that my book is now in paperback, which is gonna cost it to be it's gonna be a little bit less versus the hardback one. And I just want to touch as much lives as I could possibly touch, and I want to share my story with young people, and I want to say to them that don't you ever give up, don't you ever quit, and I want to explain to them how important their education is. Education is important because once you have your education, no one could ever cut you open and remove that. It's there with you for life. Now, I know some of us are academics, some of us are more hands-on. It's still a gift. And we need to use that gift wisely. And we need to make good decisions. And we need to get back to that village. We need to get back to that village. We need to show these young people a lot of love. We need to also show them some tough love. In order for them to make it in this life, they're gonna have to put the work in. No one is gonna hand you nothing on a silver platter. It takes hard work. Nothing in life ever comes easy. And collectively, I really truly believe that we can do it together. I really believe that. We gotta go back to the roots. Got to get back to the roots. That's important, very critical for us as a people, that we get back to the roots. And like I often say, I have no intention of starving in my country. I have no intention of running any place, going any place else. This is it. This is where I want to close my eyes. This is where I want to be. Because this is where God lives. This is where He lives. Because He made us such a beautiful country. And there are a lot of Bahamians who have a lot of goodness in their hearts. A lot of goodness in their hearts. And we can get back to where we used to be. Where we love one another, support one another, be there for each other. We are the envy of the world, this little country here. And I'm just glad that this is where I'm from. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. You have anything else to say before it goes out? There you have it, folks. Another episode of the Fanatic Islanders Sandbar Sitdown with the original Golden Girl, Miss Pauline Davis.
Thank you. And love you, Bahamas, always.